Brazil needed Vinicius to save them against Morocco. This should worry every Brazil fan. In the 99th minute of stoppage time, Alisson Becker threw himself across his goal and saved 2 shots in a row to stop Morocco from winning. 2 saves in the 99th minute to preserve a draw for Brazil, the 5-time world champions, against Morocco. That is how Carlo Ancelotti's first World Cup match as Brazil manager ended at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey yesterday. Not with the swagger and control you expect from the Seleção, not with Jogo Bonito, with their goalkeeper bailing them out in injury time while Moroccan fans inside the stadium were already celebrating what they thought was a winner. Brazil drew 1-1 with Morocco in Group C. And when you go through what actually happened in that match, minute by minute, the result tells you one thing, but the performance tells you something completely different. And it is the performance that should have Brazil fans genuinely worried. Because this was not a close match that happened to end in a draw. This was a match where Brazil were dominated for large stretches by a team ranked below them, conceded first, were indebted to one moment of individual brilliance to get level, and then needed their goalkeeper to make a double save in the final seconds to avoid losing. That is not a performance from a team that looks like it is going to win a World Cup. Let's go through it properly. Morocco came out of the blocks like they had been waiting for this for years. Within the first 10 minutes, they had registered 5 shots to Brazil's 1, 5-1. In the opening 10 minutes, Brahim Diaz was everywhere, picking up loose balls in midfield, threading passes into dangerous areas, pressing Brazil's defenders relentlessly. El Khanous and Saibari were running channels, winning fouls, making noise. Morocco were not sitting back and trying to contain one of the favorites. They were taking the game to them. And Brazil's defense looked nervous. Gabriel and Marquinhos, 2 of the best center-backs in European football all season, were being pulled around and exposed by Morocco's movement. They did not look like a unit that had drilled this system for months. They looked like a back line that had not quite figured out where they were supposed to be. The goal confirmed it. 21st minute. Brahim Diaz picked up a loose ball in midfield and slid a perfectly weighted through ball between Gabriel and Marquinhos, right through the middle of 2 of Brazil's most experienced defenders. Ismael Saibari collected it in acres of space, sized up Alisson charging off his line, and chipped the ball over him with an outrageous calmness for someone scoring their first ever World Cup goal. It was a brilliant finish. But the pass should never have been possible. That gap between 2 of the best center-backs in the world should not exist. That was Ancelotti's first headache. And immediately after, it nearly got worse. Achraf Hakimi got onto another loose ball and drove a low shot that fizzed just wide of the far post. Morocco could easily have been 2-0 up before the half-hour mark. And then Vinicius happened. Because that is what Vinicius does. 32nd minute. He got the ball on the left, cut inside, and whipped a thunderous shot into the top corner that Bounou did not even move for. It was his 50th appearance for Brazil. It was the kind of goal that reminds you why he is one of the most exciting players on the planet. And it was the kind of goal that saved Ancelotti's night from becoming a catastrophe. But here is the stat that puts that goal in context. This was the first time in 9 Brazil matches that Vinicius has scored and Brazil have not won. The previous 8 times he scored for the national team, they won. Every single time. Yesterday they drew. That tells you how difficult the rest of that performance actually was. Ancelotti was forced to make changes at halftime he had not planned for. Both Casemiro and Roger Ibanez had been booked in the first half, and he could not risk either of them getting a second yellow in the first 45 minutes of Brazil's World Cup campaign. Fabinho and Danilo came on. The rotation was forced, and Morocco, to their credit, kept coming. The second half was tighter. Morocco dropped slightly deeper, but stayed dangerous on the counter. Brazil had more possession, but struggled to create clear chances. Rafinha pounced on a poor back pass in the 83rd minute and was away. But Bounou came sprinting off his line to clear before he could shoot. Lucas Paquetá tried a crafty volley inside the box that forced a brilliant stretch save. Brazil were trying. They were just not flowing. And then came the 99th minute. El Ainaoui drove into the box. Alisson saved the first shot. The ball broke to Amemouni. Alisson saved that one too. 2 saves. Reflex, instinct, absolutely crucial. Without them, Brazil lose their opening World Cup match. Without them, Ancelotti's first game in charge ends in the kind of result that sets the tone for an entire campaign. So what does all of this actually tell us about Brazil? The first thing it tells you is that Ancelotti has a defensive structure problem. The way Morocco's goal was created, a single through ball splitting two world-class center backs, is not a fluke. That is a symptom of a team that has not yet figured out how to defend as a unit at this level. Gabriel and Marquinhos are exceptional individually. Together, in this system, they were exposed by movement that any serious knockout round opponent will be able to replicate. The second thing it tells you is that Brazil without Neymar are missing something in the way they build attacks. Neymar is still not fit enough to play. And without him, the creative responsibility falls almost entirely on Vinicius, Rafinha, and Paquetá. Those are three excellent players. But the combination does not yet have the fluency that makes Brazil hard to defend against. Morocco's midfield, Amrabat, El Ainaoui, Bouhaddi, were able to disrupt Brazil's rhythm for long periods because there was no consistent creative force pulling the strings in the middle. The third thing, and this is the most important, is that this Brazil squad is still figuring out what it is. Ancelotti has been in charge for over a year. He won them the Copa America in 2025. But at the World Cup, in a different tournament with different pressure and different opponents, the system is not settled. The defensive shape is not settled. The combination between the attack and the midfield is not settled. Morocco's midfielder Samir El Mourabi summed up the feeling from the other dressing room after the match. It was an emotional match. Playing in the World Cup was a childhood dream. But once you're on the pitch, you have to stay focused. We know we could have scored a few more goals and we'll need to use that as motivation. We could have scored a few more goals. Against Brazil. In a World Cup opener. Now, none of this means Brazil cannot win this tournament. Of course they can. Vinicius alone is enough to change any match. Alisson is still one of the three best goalkeepers in the world. If Neymar gets fit in time for the knockout rounds, the attack becomes a completely different proposition. And Ancelotti, a man who has managed 6 Champions League finals and won 4 of them, is not going to panic after one draw. But the idea that Brazil are this irresistible, inevitable force marching towards their 6th World Cup, yesterday showed that is not what they are right now. Right now, they are a work in progress. A talented, dangerous, sometimes brilliant work in progress. But a work in progress nonetheless. Their next match is June 19th against Haiti in Philadelphia. They will win that. And then June 24th against Scotland in Miami, which is the group decider. By then, either Ancelotti has fixed what was wrong against Morocco, or those same problems will be waiting for them in the knockout rounds. When the opponent in the knockout rounds is Argentina, or France, or Spain, teams with the quality to do to Brazil what Morocco did for large stretches yesterday. The Alisson double save in the 99th minute will not always be there to save them. Vinicius bailed Brazil out. Yesterday, that was enough. In July, it might not be.